One thinker, there are actually two people, that I really am fascinated by and inspired by is J.K. Gibson Graham. And so the way to start maybe addressing this question is to see, first of all, capitalism or the terrain of the economy as a diverse field where we have capitalist forms, meaning we have the private enterprise, the capitalist firm, we have private property, we have wage labor, but that's only tip of the iceberg, and that's actually literally the metaphor that they use. There are many different forms of economic relationships. There are already existing non-capitalist forms of economic relationships around us. And then the struggle here, and kind of maybe part of the answer to your question, is to first learn to see the economic diversity around us, and second, make decisions as a society, as a community, in terms of which ones of these diverse economies we want to support. So these diverse economic forms like cooperatives or community land trusts or community-supported agriculture, for instance, or local currencies, local exchange and trading systems. So there are many different forms of organizing our economic relations. And when I say economic relations, I mean both production, but also consumption and exchange. So we can, and we are already kind of overcoming or undoing capitalism every day. It's just a matter of empowering ourselves and maybe connecting these already existing practices in order to kind of make capitalism meaningless in a way. But I think this strategy is more, let's say, is easier to do in certain contexts, and sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes capitalism is much more violent and much more oppressive in certain contexts than others. So I really see a value in connecting social movements, broad-based social movements, but also class-based struggles with these practices, so that they don't remain, let's say, localized or parochial, but they are kind of connected with other grievances. So these forms of democratizing economy are connected with kind of these mobilizations, these movements that mobilize social grievances. So I think there are a lot to learn from each other. To be fair, I think social movements within themselves already create some alternatives to transcend capitalism. I think one major example of it is Bâtiment Set, which grew out of a struggle, kind of an anti-gentrification struggle, and kind of led to this different way of living and being together. And one kind of more recent, let's say, I mean, it's not that recent, but kind of more recent than, I guess, the cooperative movement, is a movement that really fascinates me and inspires me as a kind of a post-capitalist strategy is Digwells. And so Digwells is not only, I mean, its name suggests or implies kind of a shrinking of the economy, but I understand kind of a degrowth with, in a more radical way, kind of in line with the kind of the French thinkers or the French originators of the concept, as not only doing less of what we do, but doing it radically differently. So I understand degrowth as rejecting or escaping from economism, and not making economic decisions based on how competitive they are or how profitable they are or how efficient they would be, but rather on more kind of ethical concerns and social commitments such as solidarity, such as equity or sufficiency. So kind of escaping from the seeming, let's say, givenness of economic conditions or economic principles, but rather as a community, as a society, making decisions about the economy, thinking about our interdependence as a society and our interdependence with nature, and making decisions radically differently.